Well, we've just wrapped a great conversation about Ultimate Workout with these Ultimate Workout pros. We're just back from Ultimate Workout 36, and you're going to want to learn all about this project. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome to Inside Missions. I'm Christina Lloyd, Director of Media Production, and joining me today we have Elmer Barbosa, our Director of Business Development.
Hi everyone.
We also have Dina Ramirez, our International Projects Manager.
Hi.
And we have Lysandra Stout, our VP of Volunteer Services.
Good to be here again.
So what do we all have in common? Why are we sitting around here talking today? Well, we are recording this at the end of July 2026, and we've all just returned from our Teens Only mission trip, Ultimate Workout. And so we're going to sit down and share some memories while they're still fresh in our mind and share a little bit about what happened on that project. So Ultimate Workout, or UW as we lovingly call it, is a project that Maranatha has coordinated for 36 years. And if you want to hear all about that origin story, you're going to want to go a couple episodes back where we had a conversation where Lysandra sat down with Steve Case and Chris Blake, two of the people that helped really get this project off the ground. So if you want history, go back, listen, watch that episode. So let's dive into this particular project. Talk to me, what was Ultimate Workout 36 all about? Give me the stats. What were they doing? How many participants did we have? All of that stuff.
Yeah, so we mentioned before that this year we had 139. That's close to the average that we have. In recent years, we have had around 120, for many years now. We had 1 year in Peru that we had less with other big events that are conflicting with the dates that we had. But that's the average, 120 something. We had 139 this time. People all together, all volunteers from 10 countries, as we mentioned before: Peru, Canada, Turkey, UK, Trinidad and Tobago, from the DR, from Brazil. I'm probably missing something here, of course, for the United States, over 100.
Wasn't there 2 kids from Japan?
Not even counting that in the 10 countries, but they were living there with their family, and they were moving back to the States, but they came from there to Ultimate Workout. So there will be 11 countries in that case. And what all those people are doing, during the project, right? So we had 2 main construction sites. We were building 2 churches. One was the Torre de Salvación Church. All those churches are in the area of San Cristobal, west of Santo Domingo, the capital city. So the Torre de Salvación team was around 52 people. Dina was leading that whole group, and that group was divided. We had construction, and we had a painting team. Working in a church. You had Yaguate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Vito leading.
Yaguate,
so
yes.
Yaguate is a church that was built by Maranatha in 2002. Now we're painting the church again. And then we had 2 VBS programs, around that area. So Dina was leading this group of 50-something people that had construction. There was a construction leader. Mick Ray was working with her, leading construction for that. And then there was a painting team with Vito leading that one. And then 2 VBS programs. One was Misty working with you, and the other one was Paola, right? Rodriguez. There was another group that was also part of another construction site. We built also the La Guama 2 church, and was led by Pastor Josue Quispe from Peru, and another group of 52. They are also doing a painting project, painting the Fidelidad Church, a church that was built by Maranatha in 2002. Later that year, we came in, we stained the pews, and then we came back in 2016 to paint the church. Same Ultimate Workout, built the church, painted in 2016. 10 years later, we were back there painting that one church. Renard was leading that one site. And then we had also 2 VBS programs for that group. We had Kate leading one and Maxine leading another one. So
and then Chris.
Chris was leading construction. Mm-hmm. So other than that, we had a team just doing medical work, health education, medical work in general. So every day The whole group of 139 would divide between 2 construction sites, 2 churches that we built completely in the Dominican Republic in 1 week. We ran 4 VBS programs in different areas of that same region of San Cristobal in the Dominican Republic. We painted 2 churches, and we offered a medical clinic in at least 4 different locations, right?
Locations.
4 different locations to
5 if you
hundreds
count
of
the
people.
camp, right? The next day they
Exactly,
serve
yeah.
the camp.
It'll be 5 because we even the people serving the camp, the staff there, and people from the area, they were able to receive the assistance of our medical team that was there. So every day we had people going to medical work, to one of the 4 VBS programs that we were running, to one of the 2 churches we were painting, or one of the 2 churches that we were building for the community.
A lot of stuff happening. I know as a media crew, there are 9 things happening
9
at any
things every
given
day.
time during a day. And you're just like, okay, where are we going today? And these places are not necessarily close to where the volunteers were staying.
Mhm.
To give a little context, everybody was staying at an Adventist camp and then would every day go out to all of these places. So in the morning, we're sitting down, talking to different staff members. Okay, what are you doing today? What are you doing today? And trying to chart a path and figure out how to get to all of the places. And some of the places were over an hour away from where they were staying. So it's a lot to track and make sure that, everybody has what they need, everybody's safe, everybody, is where they're supposed to be. It's a lot. Dina,
My team was
you were the furthest site. Talk to me about that.
an hour and 20-minute drive every day. it was
Each way, right?
Each way, yes. One day I think it took us like an hour and 30 minutes to go. But the teens were able to socialize and talk, so that was good. They were singing on the bus. A lot of them would sleep because, like Lisandra mentioned earlier, we have very long days. Up at 5, breakfast at 6, out by 7 or 8. So a lot of them would sleep, but it was really good because they got to bond. We got to bond with each other. So it was a long drive, but it was all worth it. It was definitely worth it.
And for us, now we go to a project like that, and we leaders, it was the case for me and Elmer, we get there a week before everybody, and we visit all those places now a few times before the project even starts. So when they get there, we know what's going to happen. But think about the kids. They're in a different country with a different language and with a group of people that they don't know. Actually, they were assigned to be under certain leadership that they don't know much. And they will hear this idea that we're running multiple VBS programs at the same time, and there's 2 churches that are building and the 2 painting sites, and some are doing medical. The first 2 or 3 days is a little chaotic for them, right? To understand, we have those many buses with signs, and until they actually grasp, what they're doing, which team they are part of, they're in the morning, those that are not paying much attention to the orientation process that we have, maybe feeling like, where I'm going, I'm doing VBS. Well, we have 4 places that you can do VBS. Which one is yours? You're assigned to one, right? Or painting is the same thing. That's one thing that's interesting to see happening the first day or 2. The other thing you mentioned that before is that for each one of those locations, we need food for the kids. We need water, especially in the Dominican Republic in the summer, with the heat that we had there and the humidity that's so high. So there's lots of water they need, every day, especially working hard in construction, etc. Lots of Gatorade that we mix, we bring powder, etc., and mix for the kids to have electrolytes, during the day. So all of that needs to be present. Some snacks during the week. There are times when we go and bring let's say popsicles, to them and things like that. So all of that, we need to manage. So it's challenge on their side, to realize what exactly they are doing, the first 2 days. But for us throughout the week is also a challenge to know if everybody has what they need, in every place. And of course, Maranatha, because our core business is construction, is to have everything that if you're, watching or listening to this podcast, you're thinking, of a mission trip, and maybe you didn't do a mission trip with Maranatha, so you're thinking about wow, all the supplies for construction and everything. Well, with Maranatha, that's not a big concern because that's what we do, every day in multiple countries. So volunteers will get to a construction site and everything will be in place, right? The sand, the concrete that you need, everything, all the materials, the tools are going to be there. The same thing for a painting site. So that's something that is not even a concern for us because that's what we do.
Right.
But everything else in terms of managing people and having the right people in the right place and having the right things in the right place, especially food and water, electrolytes in the country when it's too hot. That's something that it's important for us to manage properly.
And maybe I'm wrong here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have other projects that are large, like family project, 150 people sometimes. And they have VBS, they have day camp that's taking care of little kids, and then they have construction, they have painting, some activities. But I think UW is usually the one that has more things happening at the same time. So 9 plus camp and plus all the preparation. So maybe that's one thing that's unique. I was just calculating here, it's 30 gallons of Gatorade every morning going to every site. So that's for about 9 days, 10 days in all. So a shout out to our team in country, Jessica, if you're listening, in Alberti, and Pastor Gilberto. The preparation they do, by the time we get there, all the information is laid out in a document. The names of the people that will be receiving us in each church. So if you're doing VBS in this location, this is the member that's going to be there with you. We meet with them. So maybe that's something that's special at Maranatha as well. We have all this that comes together to make sure that the project is smooth when it happens. So thank you, our team in DR. You guys do an amazing job.
I'd like to second that. Jessica was amazing. I mean, every day she would text our drivers. So each one of us on the staff group WhatsApp chat, we would know who's driving, who, where. I mean, great.
You don't want to get a bus going to 1 hour in the right
exactly.
direction. Yeah,
like the names, like it was great. She just amazing. Yeah, amazing.
That's another thing, I'm not here just to do a commercial about Maranatha. But again, if you're listening or if you're watching and you haven't been with Maranatha, that's the difference of having people on the ground, right? So we have our team work in the Dominican Republic. They know, as Dina mentioned, they will know the drivers, they will know, the equipment that they are using, etc. That everything is taken care as our volunteers get there to any country. We're talking now about the Dominican Republic. If it was Kenya or India, it would be the same story, right? So this is really a blessing, the people that we have in different countries helping us to organize this the work of a project that Elmer mentioned. That's correct. We have projects that may have even more people than we had now. But there's the two differences. One is that when you're dealing with Ultimate Workout, we spread more in smaller projects, more often, multiple places where we're working, to give all the kids the opportunity to do something meaningful. The other difference when you compare Ultimate Workout to, let's say, a family project, is that when you're leading a family project, you're leading with several small groups of families, right? So we don't need to actually to have the attention or to give explanation to every single individual for them to know what they are doing, because usually we have parents there or grandparents, and there's that small group of people that are moving together, doing things together. And with Ultimate Workout, it's a different completely different animal, because then we have the teams, but when you're talking to the participants, to the volunteers, we were talking to individuals. So and that's another thing that it makes the dynamics of a project very, very interesting for us.
And I think you realize with some of these teenagers, they've maybe never had to be responsible for themselves ever before. You're really, having to make sure that they understand what's happening. Where are your things? Did you forget something somewhere? Do you know where you're going today? Did you shower?
Yes.
You have clean clothes? Things like that. That they are experiencing by themselves for the first time. But like you said, it's a safe environment with people that are prepared to be like, hey, I'm going to make sure that you get where you need to go or have what you need and all of that. But it takes a special person to want to do those things.
Yeah, sometimes
Right.
they don't even pack their bags. At the end of the trip, we receive things that their parents sent for VBS or for a Gatorade. Here's a Gatorade. It's the last day of the trip, and like, oh, so you realize their parents packed their bags, so they didn't know what was inside there, you know. And something else that it's interesting from family projects and other projects is that you probably are not. You're not concerned if a family doesn't show up for worship, right? Okay, they decided to stay in the room. Something's happening. Maybe you check in on them, like, are you healthy? Is everything okay? With UW, staff doesn't stop. Like, you need to be 100% aware of what's happening, even during the night. Like, okay, is everything okay? The camp's safe. So it's constantly checking on everything. Are the kids coming for worship? Are they eating? Are they even going to the bathroom? Because it's an awkward situation when you're in the room with another 7, 8 kids and you have to share one bathroom. So even those details, like, we go down, we talk to them, like we have an interesting book that Loretta reads every year, you know. So those details make the project a safe place to fail, you know.
So every Ultimate Workout has similar components, but every single project is slightly different. What would you say was unique about this particular Ultimate Workout that we just came back from in the Dominican Republic?
If I can say that, the group, again, we were talking about people before, right? We were talking about, having the right people. Pastor Steve Case, who has a huge contribution for so many years to Ultimate Workout, and he still leads other Maranatha projects. He's still leading the family project, coming back now from Zambia, by the way. He has a prayer that's very interesting, and he prays that God brings the people that need to come, and that he help the ones that should not come for any reason, not to be there, not to be part of the group. I don't know if that was I didn't do that prayer this time. I don't know if Dina did the exact prayer or Elmer.
I did.
A little.
I did.
But the
I learned it from him.
the reality is that's this year, that's exactly what happened, right? So we had a very, very good group, right? Of course, we can talk about, any other aspect, right? So we were able to finish the churches that trip. Not every time we finish.
True.
Because our main goal is to build people, right? Again, if you're watching for the first time, we build, and you're going to finish those churches regardless. But, for volunteers, our main goal is to build people, right? In this time, we were able to finish those buildings. We were able to have a project that was completely safe. We had one person going to the hospital, one volunteer that was playing, football,
without
soccer,
shoes,
without shoes, and turned his ankle, and it was minor thing, right? So minor inconvenience, you can say. Nobody got hurt. Well, that's kind of unique. Many times you have people that, of course, you're doing construction. It's a risky, activity, etc. There are many things we had 18 baptisms, right? So there are years we have more baptism, there are years we have less. So there are many things that are unique to this one, but I think that overall, the main thing for me is that we had a wonderful group of people, right? So staff, the adults that were there to lead, and the kids, they all, helped to create this atmosphere of almost perfect mission trip, right? So if we can think about something that works well in terms of mission trips, this one is a project that, for me personally, I have been engaged with UW in the last 10 years. I have been to 8 Ultimate Workouts in the last 10 years. This was a wonderful, wonderful experience for me, and I have heard from some volunteers that had the same perspective. So yeah, a unique group, if I can describe it this way.
I can second that. It was very, very, very unique. I had a moment that another staff member, Chris, noticed on that final Sabbath, and you also noticed it. I had a moment at the beach with all the baptisms. At the end of the baptisms, I felt like God said, Dina, this is what it looks like when you cover everything in prayer. And I was very overwhelmed. I started tearing up and I started crying, I just was praising him and thanking him because it was a visual reminder of, like Lisandro mentioned, all of the aspects and components of just everything. Just, I was surprised as well of how everything went so well. And I think like he needed to tell me, this is what it looks like when you cover everything a whole year in advance in prayer. This is the outcome of how everything turns out. And I'd like to share for me what was very, one of the things, not the main thing, but one of the things that stood out to me about this particular project was because I prayed a prayer that I haven't really prayed before. I prayed, so we know that Ultimate Workout is specifically for the teens. We focus and we organize. Everything is for the teenagers. However, us as adults, we are there. We're impacted as well. So I had prayed a year ago and continued up until UW started, and continued actually during UW for adult staff members. For one, I specifically asked God, I felt impressed to ask for one adult staff member. 2 adult staff members ended up getting baptized. And I think that's part of what made me emotional that day, that last Sabbath on the baptismal Sabbath, that there was 2. So God blessed over and abundantly. I only asked for 1, and there was 2 adult staff members that got baptized on that. So it's a beautiful, amazing thing. I can't articulate it well, but when you are in that environment with the teenagers, there's no way you are not impacted yourself, even though we focus and everything is on for them, organized for them. You as an adult are spiritually impacted and blessed over and abundantly as well.
Okay, we're going to take a little break and shift gears, and we're going to go through some rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
So you guys have been on multiple Ultimate Workouts. What's your favorite Ultimate Workout location?
Wow, this is I mean, they are all unique, right? So, and there's different experiences. We came back now from a UW experience that was very similar to my first one. So my very first time I was invited to be part of Ultimate Workout, to serve Maranatha, was in 2016. We stayed in the same camp, and now we're back there. That the whole area, the excursion opportunity, but especially the camp in our house where we lived, for us 3 weeks, for the kids over 10 days. It became very special to me. Everything, worked, perfectly. The first time I was there, this time again. So now I challenge, Kenya, India, other places where I can take UW, to bring the same good memories that I have about the Dominican Republic. But that's my vote. Dominican Republic is a beautiful place. It's a place that has huge needs, in terms, the church is growing and they need Maranatha's help, to provide them the buildings that they need. But it's a beautiful country with beautiful people, people that work really hard, for the church, and it's always good to be there. Of course, our team as well, that was mentioned before, but everything was so perfect that for me, this is a perfect, easy to fly, it's less expensive, for more volunteers. So 2 great experiences in the same place. I will vote Dominican Republic for me. Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be Ultimate Workout 29 Kenya, but I secondly, Sandro, it's Dominican Republic this year.
Wow.
For me, like it was many years, it was UW 29 Kenya. And now after this year, I have to say, this year was my favorite in the Dominican Republic for the same reasons. I mean, great volunteers, staff, pastors there. The country is beautiful. The people are beautiful. And when I say that, I don't mean physically. I mean, they're very welcoming, very warm, very thankful, very grateful. I can't speak highly enough about the people in the Dominican Republic. They're very special. They're unique.
2 votes for DR. What about you?
I'm the country director for Peru.
Oh,
Today is Independence Day in Peru, so I'm gonna start singing. No, it's Yes, it was a great project. I think every location has something special. Even Bolivia, when I was there, like I think with 2018.
Yes.
Yes.
2018.
Great
BW
memories.
2018.
Awesome worship, singing Holy Spirit, rain on us. I
Yes.
forgot the song
And it
now.
flooded.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like all the tents got flooded. Like amazing.
Yeah, we're
things,
seeing.
but-
So there was a worship service, and everybody, it was a large group as well. Everybody was singing Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Flood this place and
Yes.
feel the
that
atmosphere. And
was the
as we were
song.
singing that, water starts, running, through
Both
the
sides,
walls
yeah.
and,
It
completely
flooded
flooded
the place. Flooded
Literally.
The tent.
So it was real. The
Yeah.
Holy Spirit was there, and it was flooding the space in multiple ways.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I still remember that.
Okay. So, what is your one must have item that you have to take on an ultimate workout?
Um, well, of course, other than the Bible. And by the way, we provide the Bible every single ultimate workout. We select a Bible to provide to the kids, and there's a special meaning to that. I remember Pastor Brendan Westgate. If you're watching, I remember you saying in another ultimate workout saying the best Bible is the one you read, right? But every year we give a different Bible to kids to see, who would, find one. Some kids come multiple years, so we give different Bibles to them. And the Bible, of course, is the guidance that is the source of guidance that you use for your Bible. Because the project's stressful, I increase my blood pressure medication when I go to ultimate workout. That's necessary, but not among the most important things that can survive even without that. I think the main thing is to prepare the spirit for what it's happening there, right? For me, the most important thing is to bring lots of patience, and trusting God. That's what's needed. It's more a spiritual thing than something that you can touch, right?
Okay. What about you, Dina?
Also the Bible, but then also I have a prayer journal that I write down, that I travel everywhere, and that I have to take that, because either I'm praying for teens, which I have, that I've met in previous years or the previous year, and I follow up with them, and then I see God answered, and so then I'll write it down, and then new teens that I'm impressed that I need to pray for. So those two come hand in hand. And like Lisandro, I have to read the Bible more. I feel that I have to be more in the Word during an ultimate workout mission trip, because there are scenarios that come up, and you need God to give you the right words.
What about you, Amar?
I believe you're asking packing, but I'm going to mention one thing that I think it's special that we bring for EW. It's those little radios. Maranatha has 20 radios that we use, and yes, the Bible, but just those radios make that project special in a sense. Every morning at 5 a.m., this time was Mick telling jokes, waking up the kids. So all the staff will have radios. The radios are with the volume turned up. 5 a.m., you're going to hear Mick saying, "Good morning, Ultimate Workout. It's a beautiful day." And it starts right there. And then he helps us communicate. Yes, it's when we're in the camp, but it's easy to find people. It's easy to solve problems when something gets lost. Those little radios are. So maybe we should get a couple so she can have one and hear all the stuff. That Christina was there with the media team. So one radio for the media team.
Right.
So
She can listen to all.
Speaking of lost, what is the craziest thing a teenager has lost on Ultimate Workout that you know of?
Well, one thing that we do for Ultimate Workouts that makes the project also special. We don't do that for any other project, right? Is that we collect all the passports, right?
Invaluables.
Invaluables, but especially passports, so they can, and any other document that they need to fly back home. Because we know that if they keep that, most likely they are going to lose it, right? If they lose some money, and you had cases before, kids taking too much money, that they don't need during a mission trip, because everything, as they pay the participation fee, everything is covered, right? They just need some money maybe to buy some souvenirs and bring back to their grandmas and their parents. Sometimes they bring too much money, they lose, but okay, they come back home with less money that they left. That's fine, but without passport, they cannot come back home. And we had, at least one story that I remember. We hand the passport back to them as they board the bus going to the airport. So it's just a very short window that they can do something. And we had this case when a participant, we were having an ultimate workout in Africa. And as he got to the airport, he realized that he lost his passport. And at that point, we had 7 buses going in different directions in Nairobi, Kenya. And, Kotesh, our staff there in Kenya, had to call all 7 drivers and stop them where they were. And then they had to search for a passport. Now, that's something that's more impactful, I would say. And the passport was found, and he was still able to board that night. But then there are little things that they lose during the project,
Yeah.
So this time we had one kid, and when we received their passports and their belongings that they want to keep in that envelope that's sealed, during the whole project, they sign. There's a checklist that they mark. We have here your, we have $200. We have your passport, your parental consent form, whatever they decide to place there. So this kid, as he opened his envelope, he said, "My wallet's not here. My wallet was here. Well, let's check the checklist. Well, you signed here and there's no wallet, So he lost his wallet somewhere, right, during the project. Things like that happen every day. And their kids, for instance, they lose their water bottles, right? So that's one thing. They bring from home to refill every day, etc. They lose their water bottle. Then we are kind to them, and you buy some, and you give another one. And then the next day he comes and he lost the second one, right? So
Yes.
those things, it's every day, every single day. And it can be adults, or it can be, Elmer just mentioned the radios. We had adults, losing radios before as well. So,
lost iPhones and thought they had been stolen, but inside of the backpack. AirPods. Don't bring AirPods. Not because you're not allowed to, but they're small and they disappear. The whole case was lost in one case. Several AirPods ended up in our office, and at least I think one we have no idea who it belongs to. So they lose everything.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, last question. If you were a teen on Ultimate Workout, what area of the project would you want to work in?
Oh, it's a hard one.
I have a favorite.
Okay.
My favorite is construction.
Okay. So we would find you, and we do find you on the construction site. Dina's always out there laying blocks right alongside the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Teaching them how it's done.
Yes.
I think if your kid or if my kid decides that they want to try the medical field, I think there's nothing like UW. It's a whole medical team prepared. And I always tell this, people go on mission trips with other organizations or with Maranatha, and the medical team, it's serving the community. For UW, there is an added component in there that's very special. The medical team is serving the community while they're teaching the kids about what it means to be a medical professional. So you have a dentist or you have a doctor that's going to be right beside you, first teaching you the basics. Oh, this is how you check blood pressure, and this is how you draw blood. Or the last day, this is how you suture. They do those things to teach the kids, is that what you want to do for the rest of their life? And then they will sit by the teenagers, and they will now see patients and explain, this is what I ask, the questions that I'm asking, this is what I'm looking for, pay attention to this detail. And in situations where the kids love, when you have someone coming with an arm that's full of fluid and the doctor is draining those fluids, I'm not a person that likes to see that kind of stuff. But if you're teenagers looking forward to working in the medical field, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. Medical team in UW is amazing.
Great opportunity.
Yeah. I think I would do, as a teenager, right? Mm-hmm. Now, today, since I had kids, I started helping, even in my church with children's ministry and telling stories. So I would say, I could do VBS very easily. I would like that today. But as a teenager, probably not. So as a teenager, I would do construction and painting, Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move into another aspect that makes Ultimate Workout unique, and that is the intentional focus on the spiritual experience that the participants have. Talk about the worship and the fact that a theme is chosen. What is all of that like on Ultimate Workout?
Yeah, again, comparing Ultimate Workout to other mission trips or to other Maranatha open teams, when people come from different places, etc. Many open teams, we don't have a person that's completely focused on the spiritual component of the project, right? Sometimes we have someone that's leading the whole group and then also responsible to organize the spiritual component of the mission trip. Sometimes we have someone sharing other responsibilities. Sometimes we have people that among the group, we invite people to share every night, every morning, things like that. For Ultimate Workout, we have a pastor that comes with the responsibility of being the preacher, the chaplain for the kids there. For Ultimate Workout, we also have, was mentioned before, Loretta Spivey. She's the spiritual coordinator that coordinates, oversees everything that's not just the preaching, the work that the pastor is doing in general, but also the worship component in terms of the music that's done, right? So we have people just leading the music component in the spiritual arena, right? We have a coordinator for everything. We have a pastor, a preacher, and then that team, they work together preparing something special for every day, right? Something that will really help to connect the kids to Christ through service. And that's something that's unique, right? Other projects, we have somebody dedicated to that, but never like Ultimate Workout. And we have a whole team working together with other leaders, right? With, we have a worship leader, but then we have kids and other staff helping to, play and singing together, etc. It's unique to UW how many people actually engage in this whole process, because that's the most important aspect of the project, is to connect into Christ through service and to provide that experience that they will remember, for life, that they will, as they go through difficult times or moments when they need to make important decisions in life, they will remember that time when they made a decision, for Christ.
And I think that I mentioned this in the beginning. It's not about the format. It's about the objective of the project, because everything that's happening from the moment we say welcome to those kids, it's to give them a chance to connect with Christ.
Yes.
So it's in the interactions, we joke that we're the bad cops in the project. So we're the ones setting the rules and telling the kids, don't do that. You have to wake up here, and please don't go that way, or you have to obey. So the other staff can engage with them in a second level and then go deeper. Sometimes the kids will be struggling. They don't come to us because we're the bad cops. We're the ones telling you can't do that. But we're providing a chance for them to approach Dina or Josue. They're in charge of the teams, or the people that are in charge of their local group, like doing VBS or medical, and now connect. Everything is pointing towards that worship experience in the night. And if we have to stop work early, we'll do that. There is no plan like, okay, Lisandro mentioned, we finished the church this year. It's not our goal. But if we have to say, no, we're stopping at 4 because kids have to come, settle down, calm down, have dinner, be ready for the worship experience at night, that's what it's all about. So the whole project is focusing on the objective of connecting the teens with Christ. So makes the worship special, the music, the songs, are everything. It's all organized so that moment is special, and they can go back home and remember, I had a connection with Christ that I hope that I will maintain.
Yes.
And this year, every year there's a theme, but this year, tell me what the theme was and how you saw the kids connecting with that theme.
Well, our spiritual team, right? So the group in charge, Pastor Cameron Sanders, Loretta Spivey, and Jordan Spivey, they worked with the team marked by the name. And the whole program was about remembering the kids that because they are chosen, because they are marked by the name, they can actually succeed in their, spiritual endeavor, right? They can feel confident in moving, in life, to the next stage of life, knowing that they are marked by the name. So different years, of course, we have different teams, but this was very interesting, the way they were able to work with that idea, and especially how the kids actually embraced that idea, and how that was meaningful to them, for the challenges that they have, etc.
Yes.
So marked by the name was the theme for this 2026.
And the verse was 1 Peter 2, verse 9 and 10, where it says, we're chosen people, and there's talk about mercy, and now we are the people of God. And there was something interesting that Pastor CJ, we call him Pastor CJ, brought this year, was that affirmation every day.
Yes,
it's
I was going to bring
interesting
that up.
because I still remember it. I was just thinking, as Lissandra was saying here, I'm going to try it. I think
Yes.
it's...
So this is just to
all
give
right,
context.
yes.
Every morning the kids had an affirmation that they would recite to kind of set up their day. So go for it.
Every morning and every night we would repeat
Yes.
that. And I was thinking, I'm going to do something like that with my kids. Not this one specifically, but reminding them it sticks in their memory. So I think I'm chosen by God. I live in His light. My past does not define me. Christ has refined me. I'm marked by the name. His name is Jesus. So every morning and every evening, the kids would recite this affirmation, and it stays in there. And I think it was a good thing that we brought this year. It may change next year. It's fine, but it was great.
It was very good. I saw teenagers, taking it very personal and even tearing up. They resonated with it. Us adults did too. I was one of them. Yeah, my past does not define me. And I just, that was very, very, very good. A good one to repeat every morning, every evening, every day.
Now, these two guys, Elmer defined them as bad cops, and so that would leave you as the good cop. When you're interacting with the kids, what sort of issues do you find are facing teens this day? What are they bringing to the project? And how is Ultimate Workout helping them work through some of those issues?
Teenagers these days go through a lot. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of depression. Very real, valid feelings. A lot of the teenagers, young men, young women, come to me with that information throughout the years. And that's one of the reasons why I have to pray a lot and read a lot, because I am not a mental health professional, but the Lord does give me the right words, and obviously pray for them, constantly pray for them and over them. But they are also coming from different walks of life. Some of them from broken homes, some of them with complete homes, mom and dad, but different parenting styles. One's a Christian, one's not a Christian. So they are struggling with that. One wants to go to church, one does not. And so they're struggling with identity. Am I a Christian? Am I not? Do I believe in God? Do I not believe in God? Is God even real? So very real, valid questions that we get every year, that I personally get every year. So teenagers go through a lot heavy topics as well. But I love that all of us, the staff, are there for them, and we always point them to Jesus. You are loved. You are chosen. Like our affirmation, I would have to constantly repeat that. Some of them would have tried to take their lives, and I would constantly repeat that affirmation. Your past does not define you. Yes, you did that in a moment, or you tried to do that in a moment of desperation, but God loves you. Jesus loves you. He sent His Son. You're here and you feel His love. And because they're telling me, so I'm just repeating what they're telling me, but in my own words, I'm validating them, listening to them, being there, sometimes just listening. That's all they need sometimes, is just listening, because we're not there to fix them. We cannot in 10 days. But sometimes that's just all they need, just for you to listen to them. But always pointing them to Jesus. Jesus loves them. God loves them. We love them. We genuinely are there for them, and just trying for them to have that relationship with Jesus. But they go through a lot. A lot.
Yeah, and we are not directly in contact with them because of the situation I mentioned, but we get to hear from all staff. We have all the meetings and we get feedback so we can know how to deal with that, especially when something it's more complicated than we talk. What's the professional pathway that we should follow in this situation here? But I do see situations where I have several participants that I know from the city where I live, and you see them going to school, you see them in church, you see their lives, and you think that they're okay. Pay attention to your teenagers. Create a safe environment where they can share, because sometimes they may look like they're okay. It's tough. You see some of them in a situation where they maybe feel, okay, there is a safety situation here I can share. I find someone that I can relate to, and then they open up and they share. And some of them are broken. It's a tough time in life. You're trying to fit in. Even though you may look at them and see like, you have everything, you're blessed. It's different, like each person has their struggle in life. And all we try to do is, I was sharing this morning in worship here, we're trying to at least encourage them to go back home feeling that they are loved by God, but knowing that, okay, there is hope, there is a solution. Like, don't give up right away, like look for professional help. And we have to deal with some of those special situations, but it's tough. So if you have a teenager at home, don't dismiss things like it's nothing, like some of them are really struggling.
Really?
It's sad.
One of the things that happens on Ultimate Workout as the worships are happening through the week is kids make decisions to give their life to Jesus. And that may look differently for different kids. For some of them, it's a recommitment that when I go home, I'm going to live differently. And then some of them do decide to take a step and be baptized or rebaptized on the project. And this year we had 18 people that made those decisions. And that was really exciting to see. We had one participant who made a decision for baptism, and we were interviewing her during the week, and she had asked me, hey, are we going to live stream the baptisms? And I said, no. And she's like, oh, my parents are asking, because, it's a big decision that they're making in life. And I can imagine as a parent, you would want to be there. And I said, no, we're not live streaming, but, we'll make sure that you get photos and footage. But her parents did not leave it there. They took another step.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what happened in that case?
Oh,
interesting. I was in the office one morning, and then Lisandro just pulls up his phone and is like, listen to these emails. So I'll let him share how that all started.
Yeah. So, well, I think we have two stories, that came from this year. One is, I got this email. So it was a mother asking. She was basically saying, my daughter, she's saying that she wants to be baptized tomorrow. So it's the day before. Yeah, the day before the baptism, I got this email, and then she said, and tomorrow is also the day of the baptism, is also my husband's birthday. Can he show up there, right? And of course, the question came from the perspective of parents that understand that that's not the place for them, that's the place for the kids. So that was very nice. That was very respectful from them, to consider that. And we thought, oh, that's a wonderful, why not, right? So he was able to fly that evening, and he got there late at night. And then in the morning, he drove to the camp. We had an apartment there, for him, etc., to be hiding for a couple hours. And then the moment when the daughter was actually in the water to be baptized, Pastor Cameron Sanders was asking her, can you look at the crowd again and see if you see familiar faces? And then she realized that the father was there. It was a moment that was
special.
Was very special. It was a climax, for for everybody who's there, not just for her. She could not contain her emotion, and the father as well. So I'm really glad for that family that they were able to organize that. There was another case when a participant decided to be baptized as well, and we had the same question. Well, I come to kids when I know that they are planning to be baptized. I come to them and say, "Have you spoken to your family? Do you need my phone to call your parents and talk about your decision?" We believe that's important. Not always possible for different reasons, but I believe that's really important, that they talk to their parents, as well as they are having the courage to take that decision in front of their peers. It's important that they realize that they need to have the same courage to state to their parents why they're making that decision. So they understand that it's not just emotional, that's something that's really going deep into their heart. And she said, no, they're going to learn from Instagram, right? But at the end, she spoke to her parents at some point before the baptism, and they're also able to have somebody FaceTiming, then during the baptism, so they were able to be there, present in a sense. Those two stories, I think they're beautiful, and it's beautiful because of the decision that those kids made, but also the trust that those families have in their decisions and in Maranatha, right? So understanding that that could happen because they are there for that purpose, right? They are there to come closer to Jesus. So, and they want to express that through baptism. So, again, we don't do the project in a way that we want to see as many baptisms as possible. That's the natural result that happens every year in those projects, because it's a very, very deep spiritual journey that they have in those few days that they are there, and they want to make that decision, especially thinking that they are in the mission field, etc. So it's really a big moment, baptism, regardless of the location, how we do things, etc. It's always beautiful.
That was very special for me, because in the 10 years I've done, I have had the privilege of serving on UW. I've never seen that, where a parent will come and be there in the most important moment of the teenager's life, which is giving their life to Jesus. And I had the privilege of being right behind the dad. And I recorded that moment. And as I was recording, he was standing there with open arms, and she came running to him. And I had an epiphany, or just, I felt that God was saying that it was an analogy, like he was standing there, like God is standing there for us, waiting for us and with open arms. And we just go to him, running to him. And I just thought, wow, that was like for me a visual reminder of God, wow. I hadn't thought about that, but because it hasn't happened. So for me, that was very neat to see and capture it in recording. And I gave them that video, and I told him that when I met him a few hours later. I told him that, and he said, "Thank you so much. I hadn't thought about that." I said, "It's because that was my point of view. I saw you from the back. And so I just needed to share what I felt the Holy Spirit, God shared that analogy at that moment." That was very special. I hadn't seen that in 10 years. I just thought, wow, that's so special to be there.
And I don't know if you want to create a thing now, but he was there for the last day. So he experienced, it was the afternoon, the baptism was at 2:30. So he stayed for that evening, and that night people went away. So he got to experience the last worship, and that's the climax. Everyone is going away. We're wrapping up, and he was excited. He was like, "Well, thank you for allowing my daughter to experience this, and maybe we do something where your parents want to come, they come for the last worship."
But I will say the one thing
himself.
I appreciate about the way that he came on the project is he did not interfere.
Yes.
It would have been really easy to take her out of the moment of the project.
Yes.
He sat by himself.
Yes.
He experienced it himself. She stayed with her friends.
Yes.
She got to experience the project, the end of the project, almost as if he wasn't there.
Right.
It didn't really change that experience for her. So I really appreciate parents that value the experience that their kid is having enough to be respectful of that.
Absolutely.
And I think
did
that
too, yeah.
that how the parents handled it was really the epitome
Very
of that.
true.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree.
So wrapping up here, one of the questions that staff would ask the kids at the end of every day where it was, where did you see Jesus that day? And, you know, it was an opportunity to stop and reflect about how God works through projects. So as we're wrapping up here, I would like to ask each one of you, where did you see Jesus on Ultimate Workout this year?
I'll go first so they don't take mine. So many moments, but I'll pick one. We had Lee coming back this time, and I'll just pick one moment.
So just Lee Osborne
yes.
was the medical coordinator this year and has served for many years with her husband, Joe.
Yeah, and maybe you should bring her to do an episode of the podcast. She's amazing, and she did a great job leading the medical team. But the moment I felt was really special was Friday night. We had the whole program was communion, and after foot washing, there was a moment for kids to write a letter of commitment to God and pray. And she met with a group of kids that were struggling. She has gone through the loss of her husband, and she understands how that feels in the way that I don't. And she met with other kids, 2 participants that are going through something similar or have gone through something similar. And they were together praying, and they took their time there. It was really special. And we got to share and talk about that situation. But she did an amazing job in general. She's an amazing person. And I know that at that moment, I saw Jesus in her with those 2 participants that were struggling with situations related to loss.
And I think that's an amazing example of the fact that God brings the right people to the projects. You know,
100%.
everybody has a different perspective and comes from a different background, but so they can reach people that have similar experiences. Yeah. And that's the case there.
Yes. Mine was with Pastor CJ. We call him CJ, Pastor Cameron Sanders, when I would be called in and he would be speaking with young ladies, and the patience and the wisdom and just how he would speak with them. I would see Jesus every time, every single time. And that impacted me personally in his pastoral ministry when they would speak to him after worships. Anybody can go and talk to him, and he would say, Dina, can you come in and help? That I saw Jesus in him during all of that. I don't know what you would call it, mentoring or just conversation, or I don't know what you would call it, but just those conversations that he had with the teenagers, participants.
Yeah, so this year, the way I saw Jesus clearly was his presence moving around and bringing even the kids, because we're talking about a good group that was a great group to work with, but that's not necessarily how it starts, right? It starts, you have the potential of having some problems here and there. Some of those kids are coming not for first years, those that are coming for the first year, we don't know what to expect, but some were coming after, being part of UW in the past. So we have an idea who they are, where they're coming from. Some also come and they want to be different than they were in the past, right? Because they're older, etc. And the way I saw Jesus was in 2 aspects. Well, calming the kids that could be, too much in certain moments, right? So either disrespectful or not listening, etc., and touching their hearts and changing them throughout the project in a way that they made our life more easy in terms of leading and organizing them, but also their experience and the other people's experience, a better experience, but also Jesus moving around, among the group with the kids that have very, very deep problems. Because again, we have a large group of people, over 139 again this year, and we have people on all sides of the spectrum, right? So in terms of people that come from, at least looking from the outside, perfect families, good Christian families, well educated, some that are not even attending school, some homeschooled kids that live like in a bubble. Everything is perfect. They get there and they are perfect, and you have nothing to say. But you also have kids that are coming from, as was mentioned before here by Dean and Elmer, etc., coming from more challenging environments, and some have very deep questions to God, and some very deep problems that we don't have answers for, right? That even professional help would need time, to be able to help them. And how Jesus was moving around and bringing those kids to trust him, to bring those things to him, and to work with them, and to calm them in the moments that it was necessary, or to give hope to them, to give guidance, direction, for their future. That was clear to me, Jesus moving around and bringing the attention of those kids that need that attention for different reasons, right? Either because of their behavior, etc., or because of their challenges. That was my experience.
Well, I think it's undeniable that God is continuing to use this project, even after 36 years, to impact the lives of not just the teens, but the adults that are on the trip. And I'm excited to see how that continues in the future.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining and talking about this. And thank you for listening to this peek inside missions. You can learn more about the work of Maranatha Volunteers International at maranatha.org. And we'd love for you to get involved by making a donation or even coming on a mission trip. Maybe Ultimate Workout is in your future. Visit maranatha.org for more information, and we'll see you next time. Just got back from. I should really write this out, but I don't want to.
You sound like me when I have to.
Yeah, we all do that 10 times.
Okay.